So a very hot topic now in the field is the future of NLP. Where would you like to see the future of NLP going, and what are the elements?
Okay, I don't know where it's going. I think where it goes depends more on the people watching and listening to this.
Yes.
Than me. But that includes you.
Yes.
Okay. So where I would like to see it go, and you can see the development if you school yourself in and become competent in the application of new code, epistemology and patterning. There is this simplification, constant simplification, a movement away from anything that takes you away from experience. The closer to experience, your interventions can occur without the need for language, without the need for conscious left brain understanding. The faster and more ecological the results, the consequences will be. Take something very simple. People have internal dialogue. The tongue drop, which you're familiar with, is simply a recognition that if you take 3 minutes to learn to wiggle your tongue so you're aware of where it is, and then let it fall to the floor of your mouth. Let any tension or movement, which is residual, slide off of it. And it's lying there without tension, without micromuscle movements. You have no internal dialogue, period. So this, and there's other forms of this, so-called Buddhist tongue poke, where they push tip of their tongue up behind the top upper inside of their upper teeth and hold it there. This shuts down internal dialogue as well. So what I propose is that not only the closer to direct experience you make your interventions, the more ecological and productive and quicker the differences will occur, but the deeper we move into the neurology, the more attention we put on physiology, the finer the work, which is represented by NLP, will become. The tongue drop is a relatively trivial example of how to educate ourselves through exploration, through trial and error, through actual study of the neurological studies available. Mirror neurons, I think, as you've heard me say before, Bo, I think is the most important neurological piece of research in my lifetime. It explains empathy. I mean, and think about how amusing it is to me, as one of the 3 guys who coded mirroring strategies for achieving this special state of unconscious connection called rapport. And then a quarter of a century later, a little bit, Michael Carroll finds that if you wire up a chimpanzee and give them a banana and they peel it and they eat it, you get a certain brainwave profile. If you now keep the sensors on this chimpanzee, and that chimpanzee watches another chimpanzee peel and eat a banana, you get the same signature. This is astonishing, and this is the direction, I hope, that NLP takes. In a sense, the eye movements are a good example. These are the tracks left by the bobcat that walked through soft earth.
Yeah.
This is the scratching at the bottom of the tree. But the events which they are iconic representations of, that's where we want to go. And there are things such as the S pattern, which have been developed, which seem to activate specific parts of the brainstem. And the differences in the person, in their state, in their subsequent behavior and so forth, given the application of something like the S pattern, are, to me, quite remarkable. And I'm looking forward to the investigation and then the testing, the same spirit that we tried to capture in this book, as we move deeper, getting underneath the tracks on the soft earth and the scratches and the scat over here, and all of the indicators that something has happened, which cannot be observed directly. Okay, well, maybe it can be observed more directly than we presently do. Each one of these calibration points are an invitation to discover and find an ethical and effective way of manipulating the underlying circuitry, which is the source of these surface indicators, the tracks the bobcat leaves as he passes.
And would you also propose that the field should move more into modeling? how it was in the early days.
This is my personal desire. There are very few examples of NLP modeling after the initial modeling that Bandler and I did, especially the two of us. Frank was involved in some of that as well, especially with Satir and Burroughs. I take this to be a comment on the way we've presented it. That is, we have not been effective in this book in a way as another way of trying to stimulate people to develop the competencies, the know-nothing state, the ability to tolerate huge amounts of vagueness and ambiguity, and the unconscious assimilation of pattern without understanding.